Hello and very warm welcome at Amish Shackle 5858. I am Amish Shackle. Following news have been reported by American, European, Asian, African, Australian news channels and the news agencies. So please, let's go to the headlines.
Tonight there is breaking news as we come on the air. Iran's counterattack tonight on Israel. The dramatic images coming in, explosions echoing across Tel Aviv now. Iran's retaliation tonight comes just hours after Israel launched a massive assault on Iran. New images tonight, Israel hitting Iran's nuclear program. Military leaders and scientists killed. Tonight, Iran's retaliation now, the U.S. helping to defend Israel, and President Trump talking to ABC News, what he's now saying about this massive Israeli attack on Iran, what the president told our John Carl. Late today, the Israeli military releasing video showing the interception of an Iranian drone. Tonight, Israel's spy agency showing how Israeli agents attacked Iran from within, and Martha Raddatz and what she's just learned about the Iranian generals and scientists who were killed in a matter of minutes. Here in the U.S. tonight, the immigration showdowns outside New York City, the dramatic moments outside a privately run ICE facility, jumping in front of moving buses in Newark, 50 inmates mounting a revolt inside, 4 detainees escaping. The new warning tonight in New York City. In Los Angeles, the first wave of U.S. Marines now taking up positions. And police across the U.S. tonight on alert now ahead of tomorrow's National Day of Protest. Tonight's interview, you will hear from the lone passenger who survived that horrific crash of that Boeing 787 Dreamliner, sitting in seat 11A, describing crawling out of the wreckage, saying he witnessed passengers dying all around him. And he describes what happened in those final moments in the air, what it felt like inside that plane. James Longman at the crash site tonight. Back here in the U.S., the judge in the Sean Diddy Combs trial dismissing juror number 6. Why that juror suddenly raised concerns, and then the defense trying to convince the judge to allow the juror to come back. What is this about? Tonight, the eve of President Trump's military parade through Washington, D.C., coinciding with his 79th birthday. More than 6,000 soldiers, dozens of tanks, fighter jets, and now heavy storms looming over the parade, costing taxpayers $45 billion. Tonight, what the U.S. Army says about concerns going into the event. Tonight, the former NFL star wanted for attempted murder, what Antonio Brown is accused of. And with Father's Day almost here, the fathers who were holding their phones, capturing the moment, but suddenly they were overcome. What happened right before their eyes, and you'll see it.
Tonight, and should we be concerned? Sydney Sweeney's bathwater bliss, an $8 bar of soap that contains her actual bathwater, is apparently being resold online for thousands of dollars. Joe, I figured you would have kept the soap instead of selling it. But I guess you need the money, so how many bars did you buy?
I got a few, I'd have to say. It smells a lot better than that candle I got from Gwyneth Paltrow. Just the neighborhood cats crawled through my screen. My promise to any fans of mine is that I will bathe at your house, and it's for free, and you can do whatever you want with the water after. That's not my It gets me so. Do you have any more jokes? After those gems, I'm tapped.
So, Liz, you are our business person. And maybe we reached the ceiling on this resale price. Could it go higher? And do you see potential on the market for other products that involve maybe me? See, I think like if I had a bar of soap, it would do something that other people wouldn't. It would have hair on it.
Oh, God!
I would put I would get a bar of soap. I would get a bar of soap, and I would just lay one hair on it.
Oh, that would be massive on eBay.
I think it would.
Massive.
That's it. Especially if you don't know where the hair is.
Exactly. Equally massive, if not more massive.
Yes.
So I'm just wondering about everybody else's bathwater. Right?
Yes.
So mine would be Cake, Cheeto, and Captain Crunch. It would be massive too on eBay. What I'm struck with is it's got pine bark in it. That's pretty exfoliating.
Is it really?
Yes.
Smells
so
good, though,
you would
bark.
need it for your hair soap.
Yes.
Yes.
It would have skin in it.
Is there any celebrity that you would buy their bar of soap?
No.
No?
No.
None at all?
Maybe yours.
Maybe Stuart Bonnie?
No, absolutely not.
Charles Payne?
No, absolutely not.
No one on Fox?
No.
No?
None.
The answer's pretty solid, Greg. Want to try in a different language?
Tyrus, would you ever sell your bath water?
Not by myself, but what I'm willing to do, Greg, is I think you and I, we've never done a venture together. What if we did bath soap and conditioner? Like,
Okay.
You wash off with Tyrus bath wash, and then you exfoliate and condition with a little Gutfeld afterwards.
Oh, it could be like a little soap on a rope.
Yeah, so it'll be one
That'd be
big
your hair.
giant block of kind of black soap, and then a little tiny little
I don't think
white soap on the other end. You can get right with big old Tyrus and then a little Gutfeld on your hair and start it.
I like the idea of my soap with Gutfeld hair on
You
it.
can call it salt and pepper.
Yes.
Tonight, breaking news: Iran strikes back. The air war over Tel Aviv and Jerusalem. This just in: new plumes of smoke rising after Iran launches a fresh round of ballistic missile attacks on Israel. But the Iron Dome intercepting the warheads, lighting up the night sky. The U.S. helping shoot down others. It comes after Israel unleashed an overnight barrage on Iran's key nuclear sites. Scientists and chain of command taken out. Our team reporting from a bomb shelter as Israel says more strikes may be on the way. The death toll rising in that Air India disaster. Videos of the final moments inside the plane believed to be on this video recorder recovered from the aircraft. The family on the doomed flight. And tonight you'll hear from the lone survivor about the moment he escaped the wreckage. His first interview in English. Marines in Los Angeles temporarily detaining a man as they're on the street for the first time since the Rodney King riots. Plus 2 courts at odds over the president's National Guard deployment right now still in Trump's control. Swept away, 11 dead in San Antonio after the most rain they faced in a decade. Cars littering the creek bed, plus a new flood threat tonight. Washington at attention for the president's massive military parade. Democrats and even some Republicans upset over the $45 million price tag and the message they say it's sending to the rest of the world. Why did Kanye West stop by the court building in the Diddy trial today? The new video as rescuers rush to a little girl attacked by a shark. And on this Father's Day, we ask you, what does it mean to be a father? Nightly News starts right now. This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Yogas. And good evening. Tonight as we come on the...
Good evening, I'm Amna Nabaz.
And I'm Jeff Bennett. On the News Hour tonight, Israel launches a new round of attacks on Iran, and Iran retaliates, renewing their regional war and threatening to upend the Trump administration's diplomatic efforts in the region.
Washington, D.C. prepares to host President Trump's military parade, costing millions and sparking protests nationwide.
And the White House accuses Mexico of stealing water from Texas farmers in one of the country's most important agricultural regions.
The U.S. population has increased by 3 times since 1940, and Mexico by 7 times. So you just have a ton of users, less consistent input of water, which makes it very contentious.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, the War and Peace Report. I'm Naveen Sheikh. Israel's military launched a barrage of strikes on Iran overnight, including on the capital Tehran. Reuters is reporting at least 20 senior Iranian commanders were killed, including the head of the Revolutionary Guards Air Force, Amir Ali Hajizadeh. 6 nuclear scientists were also reportedly killed. Earlier today, more Israeli attacks were reported in Shiraz, Tabriz, and the Natanz nuclear site. Israel's military said it's working to intercept over 100 drones launched by Iran. Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei warned further retaliation is coming, and Iranian news anchor read Khamenei's statement.
رژیم صهیونی در سحرگاه امروز The Zionist regime opened its dirty and bloody hand to a crime in our beloved country this morning and revealed its evil nature by striking residential centers more than ever before. The regime must expect severe punishment.
Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to continue the attack on Iran, quote, for as many days as it takes. U.S. State Secretary Marco Rubio claimed the U.S. was, quote, not involved in the strikes, while Trump posted on social media, quote, I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. The Israeli attacks came as the U.S. and Iran have been engaged in talks over a possible new nuclear agreement. We'll have more on this story after headlines. The UN General Assembly on Thursday overwhelmingly adopted another resolution demanding an immediate, unconditional and permanent ceasefire in Gaza and for Israel to allow the entry of humanitarian aid.
Israel and Iran attacking each other this Friday night. Iran's retaliatory strikes hours after Israel's sweeping attacks targeting Tehran's generals and nuclear facilities.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes.
The Israeli Prime Minister's endgame and the international calls for calm. Agony after the Air India plane crash, the grief of families as the aircraft's sole survivor speaks out. Plus, a closer look at areas ravaged by wildfires in the prairies, the communities on edge as evacuees return home. And keeping heritage afloat.
They need to stay working to stay home.
The group saving Nova Scotia's historic schooners. Israel came under attack tonight, Iran launching ballistic missiles at multiple targets. Some, but not all, have been intercepted by Israel's Iron Dome defense system. Israel says some civilians have been injured, and Iran's supreme leader says this is just the beginning of the retribution. Israel, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei says, has made a big mistake, a grave error, and committed a reckless act. The consequences of this, he says, will bring that regime to ruin. Good evening, and thanks for joining us. The Middle East is on edge tonight. Israel launched its most brazen and far-reaching attack on Iran, hitting
missiles into Tel Aviv tonight, but the U.S. helps.
Israel and Iran at war.
Iran fires missiles into Tel Aviv tonight, but the U.S. helps Israel intercept them.
It's retaliation for Israeli strikes that decapitated Iran's military and aimed to cripple its nuclear program.
President Trump warns Iran, make a deal before there's nothing left.
CBS News headquarters in New York. This is the CBS Evening News. Good evening, I'm Maurice Dubois.
I'm John Dickerson.
Here's a picture now of Tel Aviv tonight. There is a new war in the Middle East. Israel decided it could wait no longer to take out the nuclear threat in Iran.
It launched airstrikes on Iranian nuclear and military targets, including a main nuclear enrichment facility in Natanz. The Israeli military said 200 fighter jets hit more than 100 targets, and this is just the beginning of the attacks.
The strikes took out nuclear scientists and military leaders, including General Mohammad Bagheri, who oversaw Iran's armed forces, and General Hossein Salami, head of the Revolutionary Guard.
Good morning. The Middle East teeters on the edge of all-out war.
Iran retaliates against Israel with missile attacks on Tel Aviv.
Well, Benjamin Netanyahu has urged Iranians to stand up to their regime.
But as President Trump says he knew about the strikes, is the world now going to be dragged into this war?
Also today, a crackdown on foreign criminals. Convicts will need to prove a torture threat to avoid deportation in a push to stop soaring numbers of migrants exploiting human rights laws.
It's a day of pomp and pageantry as the royal family takes to the streets to mark the King's official birthday.
The first time in more than 30 years, tanks will roll through the capital of the United States today, marking the 250th anniversary of the US Army and the President's 79th birthday.
And David Beckham, Gary Oldman and Roger Daltrey all received knighthoods in the King's birthday honours.
Also for you to think about this morning, a nursery in London is offering marble toilets and a tasting menu. A nursery. We're asking, is it harmful to pamper kids? Good morning. Immensely proud and emotional, those the words of David Beckham, who was confirmed as a Sir in the King's birthday honours list. Luke Littler was among a host of sporting names to receive gold. Meanwhile, in the US Open golf, Rory McIlroy is labouring but still hanging in there at the Oakmont Country Club.
The storms continue to affect some parts of the UK. It'll be a wet day across parts of Scotland. Other areas may see some decent spells of sunshine. Find out with me in a full forecast coming up soon.
It's just gone 6 o'clock. I'm Stephen Dixon.
And I'm Anne Diamond, and this is GB News Breakfast.
Hello and welcome back to the France 24 newsroom here in Paris. Our headlines this hour. Iran and Israel continued to exchange fire, Tehran launching another wave of retaliatory missiles in the early hours this Saturday. Israel, meanwhile, continuing its operation with reports of strikes hitting Tehran's Mehrabad airport. We'll get the latest from our correspondent Noga Tarnopolsky in Jerusalem. The United Nations Security Council held an emergency meeting as the UN called on both sides to end their escalation. UN Chief Antonio Guterres saying it was, quote, time to stop and that peace and diplomacy must prevail. We begin once again in the Middle East, where Iran launched another wave of retaliatory missiles at Israel in the early hours this Saturday. The Israeli military said some were intercepted. Israeli media report that one missile fell in central Israel, where 2 people have been reported dead. Iran has been responding after Israel's attack early Friday, targeting nuclear sites and killing top commanders and nuclear scientists. That Israeli operation is ongoing. Several explosions were heard in the Iranian capital overnight. Iran's Fars news agency reporting that 2 projectiles hit Tehran's Mehrabad airport. Caroline Baum brings us some of the latest.
Rescue teams worked through the night in Ramat Gan, Israel, trying to save 15 people trapped inside this home, hit by a vengeful Iranian missile.
We're here in a destruction demolition site in the middle of Ramat Gan, a civilian area that was attacked by the Iranian regime and destroyed a lot of buildings and hurt innocent civilians who were sitting in the houses eating their Shabbat meals.
As the effort continued, missile interception systems lit up the sky above both Tel Aviv and Tehran. The flare-up between the countries began after Israeli missiles struck Tehran in the early hours of Friday, killing dozens, including at least 20 senior Iranian commanders.
Hello, a very good morning. It's 6 o'clock. Our top story here today, an Iranian missiles barrage hits Israel in a retaliatory mission dubbed Operation Severe Punishment.
And Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler both scrape through as some of golf's biggest names struggle to make the cut at the US Open.
It's Saturday, the 14th of June. The skies above Israel are lit up by dozens of missile strikes as Iran retaliates for Israeli attacks that killed 78 people. World leaders urge de-escalation as Benjamin Netanyahu claims the Israeli attacks will clear the path to Iranian freedom.
Brave people of Iran, your light will defeat the darkness. I'm with you. The people of Israel are with you.
Grieving families wait for loved ones to be identified after the Air India crash that killed 270 people. Roger Daltrey and Gary Oldman join David Beckham amongst those to be knighted in this year's King's Birthday Honours.
And in tennis, Emma Raducanu's run at Queen's Club comes to an end in the quarterfinals as she's beaten by the Olympic champion Zheng Qinwen.
Hello, very good morning. Thanks for joining us here on The Breakfast Show. Waves down BBC Listen app now.
Today, Iran launches a fresh wave of retaliatory strikes against Israel. The Australian government joins international calls for calm.
We call on all parties to engage in diplomacy and dialogue at this moment.
A woman in her 80s dies in a house fire in Sydney's inner west. US Marines temporarily detain a civilian in LA, the first known case since their deployment in President Trump's protest crackdown. And Australia on the back foot in the World Test Championship, with South Africa needing just 69 runs to claim victory on day 4 at Lord's. Hello and welcome to ABC News. I'm Meredith Sheehan. Explosions have been heard over Tel Aviv and
This is Asia Now.
Hello, it's PM in Singapore and Hong Kong, 11:30 in New Delhi and 1 o'clock in Jakarta. I'm Angela Lin. At this hour, world leaders call for maximum restraint as the conflict between Israel and Iran escalates, with both sides trading missile and rocket fire. Iran's supreme leader says Israel has triggered war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says it's not over yet.
We've taken out top military commanders, senior nuclear scientists, the Islamic regime's most significant enrichment facility, and a large portion of its ballistic missile arsenal. More is on the way.
Search teams recovered the flight data recorder from the Air India plane which crashed on Thursday. Investigators begin their probe into what caused the Boeing 787 to come down shortly after takeoff, with initial focus on the engines and flaps. And tropical storm Wotan is lashing China after making landfall in Hainan. Packing gale force winds and heavy rain, the storm has forced thousands to evacuate, disrupted transport, and forced businesses and tourist attractions to shut.
Strikes and counter-strikes after Israel's initial attacks against Iran. Both countries are targeting each other with missiles. Washington denies any involvement in the Israeli targeting of Iran, but admits helping Tel Aviv defend itself against incoming fire. Hello, welcome to TRT World. We're live in Istanbul. I'm Adnan Nawaz. Also on the program, the UN Security Council holds an emergency session where Iran accuses Israel of declaring war. And the Israeli military continues to attack Gaza after killing dozens more Palestinians waiting to receive food aid.
The news. The row over the funeral of former Zambian President Edgar Lungu shows no sign of letting up after his family announced on Friday that Lungu had left instructions that the current president Hakainde Hichilema should not be allowed anywhere near his body. Lungu, who died in South Africa last week, was president from 2015 to 2021. He had a long-standing rivalry with Hichilema, who defeated him in the 2021 election after trying and failing 5 times. The government has offered to repatriate Lungu's body and hold a state funeral, but his family and party, the Patriotic Front, have refused, accusing officials of trying to take over the ceremony. The United Nations General Assembly has voted overwhelmingly to demand an immediate ceasefire in Gaza, the release of all hostages held by Hamas, and unrestricted access to deliver food and aid to 2 million Palestinians in desperate need. The Palestinian ambassador to the UN addressed the Assembly following the vote.
We thank all those who are mobilized to end this horrific tragedy, governments and peoples from across the globe who are standing up for humanity and the defense of the entire nation of Palestine.
Last week, the US vetoed a similar resolution at the UN Security Council because it was not linked to the release of the hostages. Israel's ambassador condemned Friday's vote on the same grounds.
That by failing to condition a ceasefire on the release of the hostages, you told every terrorist organization that abducting civilians works, that holding elderly men and young women in tunnels earns you a seat at the table, that you can brutalize the innocent and still be rewarded with resolutions from the world's highest body.
Experts say some 2 million people are at risk of famine if Israel does not fully lift its blockade and halt the military campaign it renewed in March after ending a ceasefire with Hamas.
The FIFA Club World Cup has presented a rare opportunity for players, especially those who have never competed on the world stage. Of the 81 countries that will have players at the tournament, 22 of the players have never featured in the global tournament. One of these players is Peter Sherulile, a Namibian national who also plays for the South African side Mamelodi Sundowns FC.
Massive achievement. Wishing for many more Namibians to reach that stage now, because it's possible. Because if I can go there, it means that anything is possible. If you want to achieve it, it's there for you to go out and achieve it.
Another player is a Gabonese Dennis Boanga, who also plays for the Los Angeles Football Club. His club won 2-1 over Club America in their play in March to claim the final slot at the tournament. It is a specific tournament with many teams coming from all over the world. Every team has their own style, every team has their own way of winning and preparing for games. So I think this tournament will generate massive viewership and will be a cool competition for players to compete into. The FIFA Club World Cup 2025 will be played from Saturday, June 14th to Sunday, July 13th in the United States.
Don't miss your connection with Africa. With the Africa News app.
Thank you for giving time to this channel. I am Amish Shackle. Goodbye. Have a good life.